Now, a study reveals that 6 in 10 businesses in Asia Pacific believe they will lose opportunities if they do not pay a bribe, while 8 in 10 say giving kickbacks increases their chances of landing plum contracts. The study is by the Association of Chartered Accountants, or ACCA. That's a global body. We want to get more now on this topic with Jason Piper. He is the lead author of the study, who is the policy lead of tax and business law at ACCA as well. Mr. Piper, welcome to the show. I want to start by asking, would you say that bribery and corruption are particularly acute problems in Asia compared to the rest of the world, and why?
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me on. I think the survey results indicate that actually bribery and corruption is a concern globally. And you could read the tables as suggesting that, sort of Asia Pacific, South Asia are in the middle of the overall results. But actually, the bigger picture here is that regardless of where bribery and corruption might be happening, the impact hits on cross-border trade and growth opportunities as well. So if businesses here aren't comfortable expanding overseas, then that's going to cost them growth and opportunities. And similarly, anywhere that there's a perception of bribery and corruption being a problem, that's going to discourage inflows of investment. And within every region, there are pockets where perceptions are better or worse. So it is a global issue and something that needs to be addressed wherever in the world people are and wherever they're planning to do business.
I appreciate it is a global problem, but still, you have to admit the Asian statistics are interesting, to say the least. So is corruption seen then as an issue that is, in fact, on the rise and becoming even more rampant? And if that is the case, particularly in Asia, how then can businesses keep business clean as well as still sort of financially do well in this environment?
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's been a perception that there's more pressure on businesses. We've been running these surveys now globally since 2013 in the wake of the global financial crisis. And there was seen as more pressure even then. And the risk that small businesses are going to try to cover stuff up, feel pressure to engage in these activities has risen at every survey since. That having been said, we do know that taking a strong line against bribery and corruption increases customer confidence, it increases the reputation of the business, and even the likelihood of landing potentially lucrative public sector and big business contracts. So recognizing the risks, knowing when to walk away is essential. And the good news is that most small businesses are already fairly confident in their ability to do this. But it's essential that they get support from larger businesses in their supply chain and from central governments and public authorities as well. For years, we've had lots of guidance coming out saying that the way to deal with bribery and corruption is to have a specific anti-corruption unit within the business with its own reporting line and separate budget, which works fine for a multinational, but obviously is more difficult for a smaller enterprise. It's not even possible if there's only 3 people in the business. But there is more guidance coming through now, and for the multinationals and governments on how they can help small business to deal with these issues and stand up to the issues of bribery and corruption.
Right. So that was my next question in terms of who suffers more when bribery is present. Is it the big MNCs or the small businesses? You kind of indicated it is the small businesses who have maybe less of a buffer to be able to take those kind of knocks. But do you agree or not? And also, speaking of the multiple parties involved, it's not just a business perspective, isn't it? It's the role of governments and regulations as well that have to come in and work together.
Absolutely. It maybe sounds a little trite to say it, but all the businesses, whether they're multinationals or smaller ones, are made up of individuals. And the corruption makes us all poorer. Now, it is much easier to see the immediate short-term impacts on a smaller business. It's not uncommon for large multinationals to have a subsidiary that will turn over $100 million a year. But a $100,000 bribe is smaller as a percentage of turnover to them than a $50 bribe is to a typical $25,000 a year sole trader. So, as we say, they don't have the buffers. They don't have the finances to be able to bring in experts to do research to help them understand what the risks might be overseas. And in the long run, of course, the corruption of larger businesses as well, it poisons the entire economic system.
Understand.
I mean, the financial statements which are hiding corruption.
It also boils down to perhaps the consumer making a stand as well, and just being that much more educated on where their products were acquired and how they were acquired. We really need to leave it there. Thank you so much, Jason Piper, speaking to us from London. He is the policy lead of tax and business law at ACCA.